First Alert Weather.
As we're looking at First Alert Live radar, you can see where Nick Bender is, you can see where Johnny Rollins is, and as Johnny talked about, it's starting to congeal a little bit, but there's enough of a notch, enough of an inflow. So that's once again why they've continued the tornado warning until 5:30 for Osage County. That's where you see it very close to Osage City. Johnny has a wall cloud. Let me go to your pictures. Johnny, go ahead and explain and see what you got. Go for it.
Pan a little bit to the right here, and that, I believe, is going to be your wall cloud right there. So we do now, and it's the flanking line we're seeing behind that. So that seems to have the classic appearance of a wall cloud. We're going to give you bearings here. It is going to be south and west of Osage City.
This is definitely showing you where it is going on, once again, to the east and southeast of Clinton Lake, but still moving to the northeast since this is the tornado warning until 6:30. I hear Nick Bender's got something. Go ahead, Nick.
Reporting tornado on the ground. Hey, Brian, you probably are looking at this too. I just saw this on chat. Emergency Management is reporting a tornado on the ground south of Lone Star. That just came in. That was at 1807. That was at 6:07. That's on the south side of Clinton Lake. We got a lot of police and what looks to be KU campus police moving around here. Brian, this is something we certainly don't want to see. So I think that this is going to continue to intensify south of Lawrence, moving to your Eudora. Tornado shelters. Basement
Johnny,
is best. You don't have a basement, ground level. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, Johnny's got it. At least he's close to Clinton Lake. Is that what we saw, Johnny?
Brian, this is, we're looking right towards Lone Star right now. That is what we would look at and expect to see as the gust front through here. So we do not see the tornado per se. It would most likely be a little further to the left, and let's go ahead and pan to the left. But structurally, this is all crazy because we'll show you as we keep going left and pull back a little bit that there's a very strong rain shaft right there as well. So this may be on the other side of that. You wonder how spotters could even see the tornado from that vantage point, but they have. And right now we are blocked by that rain. But as we come a little bit further to the right, you can see the clouds, the leading edge of the what we think is the gust front, but we do not see the tornado, although you can see this rain shaft here, and then just to the right of that clear area. So somewhere in there now, tornado on the ground. Back to you.
Yeah, I'm here with Katie at the controls of our radar system, and we're trying to measure what we call the shear to see from one side of the storm to the next, and it'll inbound to outbound. It looks every bit of at least over 100, 130. And yeah, Johnny, I see where your icon is. Let's go to Katie and yours truly, or at least the full screen of what we're looking at, which is going to be our second weather box, and then we'll go to Nick, please. There you go. This is now showing where NewsChopper 9 is. He's trying to see through all of that rain, which is not going to be that easy, but once again, the couplet is there. He's about 3 miles to the east and northeast, but it is now to the east of Lone Star, possibly bypassing the city itself. There's a rural portion, obviously, there between Pleasant Grove and Lone Star. As we zoom it in farther, that's where you at least see the better chances for that couplet coming through. And Nick, I heard that you saw debris, or at least a possible signature on radar that you're looking at. You're a little farther to the north. Nick, go ahead.
You're spot on, Brian. I think this is going to match up with the velocities you're showing. This is a tornado debris signature, so this is the radar detecting debris lofted in the air. We don't know what kind of debris, but we know it's not rain or it's not hail. It is 4.5 miles south-southwest of Lawrence, or about 1.5 miles to the east of Lone Star. I think this is a large and extremely dangerous tornado that is going to pass just south of Lawrence, maybe by a couple of miles. But if you're on the south sides or east sides of Lawrence, you know, even Lawrence proper, let's err on the side of caution. Make the decision of least regret. Move to your tornado safe place, especially if you are between Lawrence and Eudora on K10. You need to move right now.
There's KU's campus, so you can get your bearings. One of the great things about First Alert radar is we can zoom right into the neighborhood and give you some cross streets for reference, because a tornado itself, by and large, is really not that wide per se. It's maybe a football field, maybe too wide, so it's a fairly narrow corridor, but if it wavers or starts to bop a little bit, that's what's going to change the path. Katie, go ahead.
It has made
a right turn, so we need to change the track.
Okay, so that's one of the things we talked about when the Weather Service draws a tornado warning area. Sometimes they do what we call right moving, where they try to continue to keep themselves alive, feeding on more warm, moist air to sustain themselves. That's exactly what is going on there. And Nick, by the way, please yell to the control room if you have something else that you can confirm Johnny as well, because I know they can all listen. So here it is south of the city of Lawrence. It's more the southern portion. We do have something with Johnny. Johnny, go ahead.
Left first, and there is the edge of the rain shaft. That's going to be pretty close to 59 Highway. As we're looking to the south and west now, we're just south of Lawrence, about 2 or 3 miles. And we'll pan to the right. This is this gigantic rain shaft, and if we look to the front of that, it looks like that is rain as well, but somewhere buried in there is where this tornado is supposed to be. We thought on a couple of occasions we may have been able to spot something on the front end here. But as I've been saying, structurally, this just is really pretty tough to figure out as far as where to look. But that is the heavy rain back behind that, and you see to the right there could be where this tornado is. We are unable to see it. We're going to pan all the way to the right here. You're going to see a little bit of the back of the NewsChopper 9. We don't see anything. We'll stop right there. Don't see anything following from the front. But as we come back one more time, we're going to have to go east here to get a little bit away from this. We'll go ahead and pan back to the left.
Hey, Johnny, hate to cut you off, my friend, but now they've extended the warning. This is for Johnson County, Kansas. This is now because of this confirmed tornado that is on the ground, heading toward more populated areas. So still 6:30 for Douglas County, but now until at least, let me just read it one more time. That's going to be until 6:45, now going until 7 o'clock. This is going to be a tornado warning out for Johnson and Leavenworth County until 6:45. Now continue, Johnny. I'm so sorry about that, but I did want to get that StormTracker out there and let you know that this is confirmed and on the ground.
Yeah, I fully understand, Brian. We're going to go ahead and pan to the right now and see if we can give you a little. Okay, there is the front end of this rain that is approaching Lawrence right now, and this is just a spectacular view. We'll pull back one more time, get the horizon level as well, and we are, in fact, it's catching up to us just a little bit. We're looking for, we've seen, by the way, Brian, signature downdrafts too, almost the microburst, the foot coming out from under, from the front of that. But I want to come back just a little bit further to the north and see if we can see back around that side. We believe that on the other side of this rain is where this tornado may be. You see the lowering of those clouds there, and we're picking up some speed to get a little bit further away from it. Back to the left for me, Pat, there, as far as that's concerned. It may be, whoop, right there, maybe right on the other side of that rain where all this is taking place right now. So Lawrence right in front of us. In fact, we just saw a lightning strike in front of us. A big power flash there. Did not have anything to do with a tornado, but a transformer got hit there. And we're going to proceed a little bit further to the east, say a safe distance away. But needless to say, an unbelievable amount of rain coming out of this. And let me see if I can get this around a little bit quicker. And back behind there, that tornado, but again, we just can't see it right now. It must be totally rain wrapped. Brian?
They have just issued a tornado emergency now for Johnson County, western side of Johnson County. Let's put on the last frame so we can see exactly which communities are involved with this. So we'll stop it from the animation mode and go straight to it. There you see it is going over the western portion of Johnson County. So it's north of Olathe, heading toward Eudora, just to get your bearings. So this is a confirmed tornado that's on the ground. Tornado emergencies are not issued that often, and certainly when you have a tornado this strong that's heading to a more populated area, that's when they pull and they decide to put all stops together. And that's why it's a combination of emergency managers, spotters on the ground, spotters in the air, meteorologists here, and also some of the information that's going through there. Go ahead, Katie.
Just a tornado warning emergency
for
Douglas
County. Okay, my apologies there.
That's okay.
So let me backtrack a little bit. Douglas County is the tornado emergency, but still a tornado warning until 6:45 for Johnson County. All right. So now that we have that straight, DeSoto is in the path of this. This is going to be the easternmost edge of that tornado warning. So south of Tonganoxie, that's a severe thunderstorm warning, but only the core itself is coming from Douglas County, heading to the western portion of Johnson County. So right now that's north of Gardner, north of Olathe, but does include DeSoto, Eudora as well. So that's going to continue to move to the northeast. And this is a confirmed tornado that's on the ground. You heard from Nick Bender, a debris signature, because radar can only see different particles that are suspended, and certainly the shape of a raindrop is going to be a lot different than a 2x4 suspended in the air a few feet off the ground. So this is why if we look at what we call the CC, or the correlation coefficient, that tells us that that is indeed a tornado that is starting to do some damage across the area. Could you repeat that in the booth, please? Nick is ready. Go ahead, Nick, please.
Hey, Brian, we are on K10. We just got on K10 there, the exit there in Lawrence. And looking back to the south in the west, Brian, I think we saw it. I think it's a large tornado. I think it's a large tornado wrapped in rain. There's some violent motions in the clouds there, violent rotation. This is south and east of Lawrence. I'm looking at the debris ball. I think it went right over Pleasant Grove and is going to move close to Sibleyville. That's southeast of Lawrence. And the next stop for this is going to be Eudora. And I think this is going to be a long track tornado. So if you are southeast of Lawrence, anywhere near K10 from Lawrence to Eudora, we plead with you, you need to be in your tornado shelter immediately. And this may be one of those instances where you need to make sure that if you have a bicycle helmet or a baseball helmet or something, especially if you have kids, they need to be wearing that. Dress like you're going to have to be out in the rain in a worst case scenario if your home is damaged by this tornado, which this tornado is damaging something, because we are seeing that on the dual pole radars, indication that debris is being lofted by this tornado 4 miles straight south of Lawrence. I think it just came over 59 highway 4 miles south of Lawrence, moving towards Sibleyville and Eudora, Brian. I've lost visual on it because I've got some hills here. You know what? I see Johnny. Johnny's not a half a mile straight in front of me. So he's on this part
Let's
of the
go to
storm
Johnny
too,
then,
as we
please.
mentioned.
Can we
This is
go to
gonna be
Johnny?
rain
Sorry
wrapped.
about that, Nick, since you are rain wrapped. I do want to at least show you where it is. Johnny, go ahead.
Brian, there's the front edge, and if that's what Nick was talking about, we are seeing what he's talking about as far as the rain and violent winds that appear to be there. I'm torn between whether or not this is it or if it's south of here. He said 4 miles south, and this is only a couple of miles south of Lawrence. Regardless, you can see this unbelievable scene coming over Lawrence right now. We are not seeing any power flashes in there. Hopefully that is good news as far as what we're watching right now, but it could be completely on the other side and just west of us. We are just to the east of this thunderstorm now. That appears to be primarily rain, but as Nick said, could be some a lot of wind in there just hidden from what we can see. We're going to have to get a little bit further away from this. You may lose our signal as we turn to the east. But this is a tremendously powerful storm regardless, and with that tornado reported in there on the ground, not surprised at all given what we're seeing right now, Brian.
Sounds good. Right now, let's go to Katie Horner, who has the latest on the rotation and also exactly where it's most likely to be coming through. Go ahead.
Sure. Let me set up the stage on links to StormTracker 9 and NewsChopper 9 are out ahead to intercept this storm. It is located 1 mile south of K10, just south of the KU campus. You're looking at the rain right now, and Johnny is right. This is a rain-wrapped tornado. So where you see the heavy rain, now let me show you where the tornado is. You see that? It's within that heavy rain. It's located right now at Harper Street, near Broken Arrow Park. It's just on the east side of Broken Arrow Park. It's moving northeast at approximately 35 miles an hour. To measure this for you, I can show you that that rotation is now, let me get the ruler on here for you. It is located directly about just under a mile south of Highway 10. Johnny Rollins is in a position that he's been able to track this tornado for us. Johnny, what is your observation?
I mean, Pat, I got to tell you, Katie, this could be a mile wide. We'll zoom in a little to the left here. Most of what you're seeing here, and we'll zoom in right there, that's going to be, you can see, barely make out and stop right there, Pat, the left side, the east side of the tornado. And we'll pull back and then show you the right side as well. I did not realize that that entire portion was turning. And I thought we saw something else out there as well. So what looks just like rain is primarily the tornado right now. And we'll go a little bit further to the left. And Pat, you can go ahead and zoom in right there. Yeah, I got the tower right in front of us. And we'll stay right there. All of that you were seeing now is part of this massive tornado on the ground north of Lawrence. And it's so sobering to see all these houses that we've been flying over and these the farmland and these small cities that are getting ready to be hit by this. It's just really hard to think about what is on the way. So, yeah, obviously you know now this is the real deal, and take cover in those areas north of Lawrence, so almost anywhere north of Lawrence now, and north and east as the weather team has been detailing for you. And I'll let you guys take it as we're going to reposition a little bit again.
We're seeing, first of all, the toll plaza very close to where we were talking about earlier. Nick Bender is also on the ground as well. Nick, what do you have?
Brian, it's right there behind the trees. You're going to see it here when we get out behind the trees. It's about 4 miles southwest of me. I'm just north of Bonner Springs at the intersection of 7 Highway and Interstate 70. We're looking back to the south and the west. Brian, this is going to come so close to Bonner Springs. If you're in Bonner Springs, you need to be in your tornado shelter immediately. I think it is just up beyond those trees. I think that is the large wall cloud, and I do think that we're going to be able to see this. I don't think this is going to be rain wrapped. Jim, you keep pulling up here. You get me up here just so we can spot back here to the left. Brian, this is coming into Bonner Springs. It's going to come up over Interstate 70. Do not travel west out of Kansas City on Interstate 70 right now. There's a violent tornado that's going to be coming up right over the interstate in a few minutes. So stop at the Speedway. Do not go west of the Speedway. This is also going to be coming pretty close to the Speedway as it lifts between Bonner Springs and Interstate 70, comes into the Legends, the Speedway, and then it's going to go out in the north sides of KCK and then possibly up to Parkville. So you're looking, that is a very large wall cloud, and back to the left there is going to be that, hang on, we might be able to, Jim, can you pull me up here?
I'm trying to get
Just cross up there into the front here. Hang on, we're going to get up here on some higher ground. Okay, Turner, there it is right there. Brian, a little bit to the left, Turner. A little bit, yeah, a little bit to the left. That's it right back there. Look at the rising motion into that. Brian, that's your tornado. It's sitting right back there beyond the tree line. That is a violent tornado.
Sirens are going off in Excelsior Springs right now, partially because of this tornado warning that's in effect until 8:15 for Clay County that's going on there. Did you mention something about Johnny? I'm sorry, the booth. Damage in Linwood.
I'm sorry, Brian.
What's that? Go ahead, Johnny.
Okay, Brian, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're just coming up on some incredible damage here in Linwood. This, I don't know what this was. Was it a nursery? Yeah, it looks like a nursery, maybe greenhouses. That would explain the extent of damage. We'll go ahead and turn to the left here. We're over 32 Highway and a ton of emergency equipment on the scene here. There's some houses below that have been damaged as well. This looks like it was maybe a couple of 100 yards wide here, not the mile we were talking about before. So we see some, well, come around to the right for me, Patrick, and we're going to show these trees here of houses completely leveled here. So this is where it crossed over just north of the Kansas River, and you can see these houses damaged here. We're going to keep tracking along 32 Highway, and boy, it looks like one house completely off its foundation. Keep going, Patrick, up to the right there, and zoom right there. Completely off its foundation. There's the house. There's the foundation. That gives you an idea of the extent of the velocity of the winds. This is pretty intense and serious damage to these houses, confirming that it was a
Hey,
very,
Johnny,
very,
hate to interrupt you there, my friend. We'll get back to you, but we still have this rotation that's a little tighter with the current tornado warning that's going on. Nick, you were on it. I know you're still trying to get in a better position, but there you see that rotation, which is getting stronger. I'll throw it to you in a second, sir. South of Kearney, that's right now. There's Chandler Road, just so you get your bearings. And right down the path is Mosby. And those are some of the same cities that we've been mentioning for you. Now moving east at about 35. So Excelsior Springs, as Nick told you, get in that safe area. Crystal Lakes at 812. And also Mosby is right on your back doorstep. So once again, this is now the tornado warning that at least shows a little tighter rotation.
Brian, can you get my feet? I got a large rotating wall cloud moving just north of Mosby. If you check the terminal Doppler radar there, it's going to show the rotation more defined than what's coming out of Pleasant Hill right now. This is, unfortunately, it's starting to wrap up again. So if you are in Mosby, this looks like this is going to pass just north of you in Mosby, moving toward Excelsior Springs, Excelsior Estates, and Lawson. You need to be in your tornado shelter right now behind that Aldi and behind that tree line. Turner, a little bit to the right. It's going to be just behind this do not enter sign. I can see the right side of the wall cloud. So that's a pretty big rotating wall cloud that is about 2 to 3 miles to my north and west. And Brian, I really think it's starting to wrap up here on the radar between Kearney and Mosby, right between Kearney and Mosby. Moving toward Excelsior Springs, Lawson, Crystal Lake, and Excelsior Estates. I don't want to try to get too specific with where it's going to pass north or south of right now, but this is along the warm front. There was an outflow boundary here earlier. wind shear is maximized along these boundaries, and these supercells can really ramp up quickly and produce tornadoes again. So we are looking, Brian, back to the west, straight west, a couple of miles over the tree line. That is going to be the part of the storm that's rotating. That's going to be your wall cloud back there in the distance. We're going to watch this real close. Let me switch over here. I want to check. Pleasant Hills. Are you seeing any? Wow, Brian, this is really ramped. Brian,
about to go here from the wall. Go ahead, sir.
I think. Hang on, I'm trying to find my button here. Brian, confirmed tornado. I'm going to call this a confirmed tornado. This is going to be north of Mosby, 1.5 miles. I have a very well-defined tornado debris signature. This is no longer radar indicated. This is on the ground. This is a mile. I want to be real specific here. Give me a moment. I'll let you all load it up. Check the correlation coefficient there on links. It's about 2 miles north of Mosby, moving north and east toward Excelsior Springs. This is a confirmed tornado, so now is the time to really take action. Excelsior Springs, Excelsior Estates, unincorporated areas here to the north of Mosby. You need to be in your tornado shelter immediately. Tornado on the ground near Highway 92. It's moving east toward Excelsior Springs. We need to get to Excelsior Springs. Brian, this could produce another large, long track tornado with the ingredients that we have ahead of this storm. Cloud motion's really starting to ramp up right ahead of us, Brian. Turner, this is going to be off the hood and a little bit to the left. This is going to be back to our south and our west. Cloud motion's pretty violent, Brian. This is probably on the ground right behind the tree line.
That's about 2 miles away from Mosby, right?
Let's back up.
Yeah, you guys stay safe. Let's take it here and show you that latest storm track. What we have coming up behind me, you're putting number 2, links 2, talking about the debris signature. See the blues in the middle of this sea of red? That's an indication that there's something, once again, that the radar is picking up and spitting out. And it's not just a raindrop or a hailstone. It is building material. That's where he is. And so north of Mosby, as he said, is that signature that he is seeing. So it's a combination of the radar seeing it, it's a combination of humans seeing it, and it looks like it will continue to at least be the tornado warning that the Weather Service has issued on. Nick, I know you're trying to get to a safe spot where you can kind of see. Let me throw it to you for one quick second. But yeah, your report was relayed to the Weather Service, and we still have that tornado warning out there. Nick, if you're on, go ahead.
Brian, this is going to be behind the line of storms. It's actually behind the rain by quite a bit. So we are going to be able to see this once we take a peek up 69 Highway. This is going to come awful close to Excelsior Springs, and it looks like it's going to go right in between Excelsior Springs and Excelsior Estate and Crystal Lakes. Evidence that this is a strong tornado moving to the east. You need to be in your tornado shelters immediately. Jim, is this 69 Highway? Yeah, this is 69. So I want to just kind of stay here. I need to get a vantage point behind me. So you need to pull over. Brian, I just got really bad visibility right here. You're going to hear me take my mic off real quick. I need to just pop my head out this window.
While you're doing that, it looks like this tornado, according to the National Weather Service, is heading right toward the Excelsior Springs Hospital. I'll repeat that. This tornado is heading right toward the Excelsior Springs Hospital, so they're hoping that people are going to take shelter. The crew and the staff there know exactly what precautions they need to take, but this is a tornado confirmed on the ground, heading toward Excelsior Springs, and now with a beeline heading toward Excelsior Springs Hospital. Nick, if you're back in, I can certainly throw it back to you, but this is still...
Go to me.
Go for it, sure.
This is straight north of us. All right, Brian, this is coming right through our position. This is at about a mile to the north of us. This is northwest of Excelsior Springs. You need to be in your tornado shelters right now. You are looking at the part of the storm that's producing the tornado. It is going to be rain wrapped, so it's not going to be very visible. We're going to have to look for power flashes, which is the tornado going through the utility poles and more than likely snapping them off at the base. Was that a power flash there? That might have been a power flash. North of Excelsior Springs, that was a green flash. If it was lightning, it would have been blue. I think that this is a strong tornado on the ground. Tornado sirens are going off here. That is a pretty strong circulation. It's going to be lifting right into Excelsior Springs. Brian, here's what I'm going to do. I don't have great road options here. and I want to be more of an assistance than spot this storm since we've got it on radar.
Right.
I'm going to let it cross the highway, and then I'm going to go north, and I'm going to look for the damage path and see if anybody needs help in Excelsior Estates, because I think this is going through it right now. I mean, this tornado is causing damage. So we're going to wait, and we're just going to slowly go north on this 69.
Okay, so that was the intersection. Was it 69 and 33? Is that what you said, Katie?
69 and 92 highway.
92, I'm sorry, 92 is going out of there. So on a path now for Excelsior Springs Estates, and at one time it would look like a portion of the storm is heading toward the hospital itself in Excelsior. So this is once again every bit of medium, if not high rotation that's still showing you there. And that's one of the things we can do with, this is now System 1 behind me, which is great. So Pete, go ahead and go, this is where you saw Nick's position, and this is what he was looking at there. This is now, at least to give you some cross streets, there'd be Fine Street. There would be Bronte Street. This is now 92 just to the north of that cell, and now in the last update it is up there, very close to that intersection that we were referring to. So the rotation is there. This is confirmed on the ground. I think we were seeing some debris signature. Yeah, we still are. So this is not just a radar indicated. This is a combination of the radar seeing it and Nick and other spotters out there. There's that debris that we were referring to, very close to Highway 92. And there you could also see Rainbow Boulevard. So this is very close to between Excelsior Springs and Excelsior Springs Estates. And that is a pretty good indication that this thing is still on the ground. And that's why they've extended the warning to not only include Clay County, but also Ray County as well.
This is approximately 2 miles ahead of us. We're going to get up here to these traffic lights. So we're in the rain on the backside. This tornado is behind the rain. So you're going to get rain, and then you're going to get the tornado with the rain. It's going to be very difficult to see this. The only indication that we're going to have from it is the power flashes. And I think you're out of time in Excelsior Springs. It's pretty much right on top of you. It's coming over 69 Highway into Excelsior Springs right now. We're going to just slowly go up here and watch the damage path. Go ahead and just slowly go up here. Don't want to go too fast. Just kind of slowly move your way up. Keep going. Brian, if we have anything, I'll let you know. Just kind of keep me up.
And I would say stay where you are right now.
Coming over the highway right now. It's
just to
coming
be on the
over
safe
69
side?
right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we're only going at about 20 miles an hour.
Okay. Definitely, you know, sometimes hopefully we'll not start to back build or start to occlude. But yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, we're going to keep you up. There was a video that came in earlier from when it was very close to Kearney. This coming in from one of our viewers who sent this in via social media. I think that was some of the video that we saw earlier. If you do have it punched up there, you did mention it. And also, Nick, I think we're going to keep your mic hot just in case you do need to interrupt. But there you hear the sirens going off. This was the tornado itself, very close to Kearney, Missouri. So it looks like there are two,
those traffic lights.
as I was talking about, including, hey, Nick, I hope you can hear me, possibly 2 tornadoes, one near Excelsior Estates and one near Excelsior Springs. So one west of Excelsior Estates and one near Excelsior Estates. So it looks like there are 2 that we're going to have to be worried about. Just wanted to let you know that.
There are 2. They're both over Excelsior Estates. They look like they're both over Excelsior Estates. One's over the highway, and I think the other one's on the east side of town. I've got a southwest wind at my position, and I am about 1.5 miles south of the west one. I've got a southwest wind.
All right.
Strong southwest wind.
Okay, appreciate that. So there you see it. It is now.
And I've got storm chasers coming up on my rear.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even see him.
Yeah, we got a lot of people out here chasing on this highway. They should not be chasing on this highway. Keep going, Jim. Keep going, Jim. Give me about 25 miles an hour. Keep going. We got a southwest wind. It's coming over the highway up here at about 1.25 miles. We're in a safe spot.
You know, that's another thing I guess we should caution, because there are a lot of folks who want to go out and see and try to leave it to the professionals. Definitely stay off the roads. So this is now a confirmed tornado,
This is
one of 2 of them
Excelsior
actually.
Estates right now.
So there we see Crystal Lakes. You see in the smaller box down in the lower left, the live picture from about where StormTracker 9 is located.
There looks like there are 2.
There you
One's
see
coming into Excelsior
the
Estates
rotation
right now.
there of where
Jim,
Nick
give me
is,
35.
and is about ready to cross into Ray County as well. So there you see 2 different individual tornadoes that are heading into that area, and that's why the tornado warning is now out for Clay and Ray counties until 8:30. This is a dangerous and large
Keep an eye on
tornado,
that-
not just
on
a
those
small
lights up there.
rope, not just a small one that you would see like in the Wizard of Oz. This one is a wedge at one time, and if not one, it has a twin with it. So there are two that are going through there. Definitely, I'm a little bit distracted to make sure that my crew is safe, and so I know Nick is very adept at storm tracking, but I just want to make sure that everything is all right with him, although he is behind it, and the other cell is up toward, there'll be Claysville, so that's already across county line into Ray County. So the tornadoes are still out there, and just when you thought, okay, it's over, it's now over the Kansas City Metro and weakening, and as we told you, it's going to possibly start to ramp back up, and that's exactly what's going on, although we do have a little more daylight. These are tornadoes on the ground, and what's going to make it even more difficult, Katie, is once we see these tornadoes after dark, and all you can do is rely on power flashes and lightning. See if Nick Bender is back in position to throw it to him for just 1 second if we can. Nick.
I gotcha. Hey, Brian, this line of thunderstorms is moving to the east, and we're not going to be able to keep up with it. We've chased there many, many times. Road options are poor, and the storm is moving fast. We did get reports of damage back here in Excelsior Estates, and I think we're pretty close to it. Jim, yeah, you're pointing your finger. Keep going, no, keep going. You want to take a left here at Jesse James Road. It's going to see where all those vehicles are up there. Yeah, we'll take a left there. We're going to move back here into south of Excelsior Estates and Excelsior Springs, where we brought the tornado through, tracked the tornado through, and see if there's any damage. See if there's any damage in here, Brian. When we get to the area that I think there is, because we've got firefighters, first responders that are rolling out here out of the hospital. So there may have been damage up there along the path. So we're going to kind of work our way around through here, Brian. We'll send it back to you.
Thank you so much. And right now, there you see once again as he is maneuvering through, and there are numerous damage reports, a lot of debris, a lot of power outages, and now we have to worry about heavy rain because once again, these have had a history of producing heavy rain in addition to damaging winds, damaging hail, and the tornado threat that's been out there, and confirmed tornadoes on the ground, more than just one. We still have to worry about a lot more severe weather. Tornado watch stays in effect until 10 o'clock. Brief second, if I can throw it over to Chris and Laura for just 1 minute, and let me start to look at some of those reports and get right back.
Sure. Lawrence Police, again, we're focusing on Douglas County and Lawrence, where it appears as if there's been quite a bit of damage as a result of this tornado tonight. Lawrence Police tweeting just moments ago, most structural damage appears to have occurred near Lawrence as the tornado passed just outside the city limits. We are not finding any major structural damage within city limits, but trees are down, power lines are down, there's debris along streets, especially on the southeast edge of the city. Some of these streets in Lawrence are impassable, so Lawrence Police, please asking people not to go sightseeing. This is not the time or the place for that tonight.
And as we mentioned, it seems as though emergency crews are maybe stationing in Lawrence, and then they are going to be dispersed elsewhere, because we know in some of the rural areas, especially around East 1300 Road, 1500 Road, south and east of Lawrence has been hit very, very hard. So everyone's trying to get organized, these emergency crews, and head out. You look at these pictures right now from NewsChopper 9, and there's just tremendous damage and flooding. That is, and I'm not sure where Johnny is right now, but you can.
This is Lawrence right now?
He is in Lawrence. And you can see all along the highway, there are vehicles just stopped completely.
Hey, Johnny Rowland's up in NewsChopper 9. Maybe you can give us a little better idea of where you are right now there in Douglas County.
We are going to be a couple of miles to the east of Lawrence, probably 3 or 4 miles east of Lawrence now, and taking a look at some of the damage here. Look at the trees down, uprooted totally. There is one to the right, used to be a house there where the white pickup is. We'll go ahead and zoom in. The house to the left doesn't seem to see too much damage at all. Got to tell you, I was completely turned around when we were trying to stay out in front of this tornado, as we thought it was much closer to Lawrence than it was. In fact, I think I even referred to that at one point, but it is pretty far to the south and east of Lawrence, all the damage that we have seen so far, and this is just some of it. Many houses that are completely off their foundations, some new houses that look like a couple of subdivisions on the south and well, from the southwest to the southeast side of Lawrence. This a more rural area. I think that's the old K10 that we have right here as well. And Pat, let's go ahead and pull back from that, and we're going to go up and to the left a little bit and show you some more damage on what appears to be maybe a farmhouse up here. Keep going over to the left there. Look at the trees down across the road, completely blocking the road. Some structural damage over here. It looks like, yeah, maybe several additions to a house here, and then across the street another house hit too. I'm going to kind of throw you a curve here, Pat. I'm going to fly right over this, and then I want you to pull back and kind of look behind us as we have two houses that are completely demolished here as well. Go ahead and pull back and tilt down now, and back to the right. Yeah, look at those. Zoom in on those for me. And again, this a rural part of Douglas County. I believe we're still in Douglas County.
We do want to throw to a story that Brian Johnson just filed with us. He is in Lawrence, and he is amongst the damage.
We've just made it on the ground here in South Lawrence where this tornado came through, and we're seeing the damage firsthand for ourselves. This is where the Harrell family lived. They tell us this was 2 stories with a roof, and you can see that second story is completely gone. The roof is gone. The trees all around their home are all lopped off by the massive winds that came through here. They said that they just found their second cat that was missing. So that's the good news, is everyone here is okay. They're all safe. They said thanks to all of the forewarnings, they had about 15 to 20 minutes to get out. They felt that their home wasn't safe when these winds came through, and so they went to a parking garage not far from here, about 5 or 10 minutes away. And then once the tornado came through and continued, they came back, and this is what they found. You can see parts of the inside of their home are all over their front, back, and side yards. We talked with the son and the mother who lived here, obviously very shaken, very grateful to be alive. They're thankful to everyone who helped get the first alert out, and to the National Weather Service for those warnings, because that is what they credit for saving their lives tonight and saving the lives of their many pets. Several of their animals were very wet, and you can tell that there's a lot of anxiety as they're getting ready to leave here. There's power lines are on the ground here in Lawrence. Power is out. Street signs are damaged. We've seen cars on the road. We're going to continue to gather more information, and we'll bring it to you as soon as we learn it. That's the latest in Lawrence. Brian Johnson, KMBC 9 News.
Now, here in the city, let's go ahead and show you some video there in that lower left-hand corner of your screen, that box. This is westbound 70 at the Benton Curve, where apparently the scene of a jackknife semi within the last few moments. As you can see, one lane of traffic getting by, but the backup, I'm sure, back into downtown at this point. Again, westbound 70, the Benton Curve there on the east side. Let's go back to NewsChopper 9's Johnny Rollins. Johnny.
Yeah, we are north of Eudora here and looking at some damage here, trees across the railroad tracks. A lot of trees down here. We went north of Eudora. We want to show you Linwood here, but we're seeing a lot of flashing lights down in Eudora, and I got to tell you, trying to sort through up here where all this damage is, and it just doesn't, for some reason, this just doesn't seem to be the track that we were ahead of. I'm sure that there was only one tornado track here, and I know Nick was talking about possibly 2 on the other. Let's go ahead and tilt down. We're going to show the damage to the trees here. Back behind us about a mile or so was the heaviest, or was the widest I saw as far as the damage was concerned through the trees, and that had to be about a half mile or so. At one point we were estimating this could have been as wide as a mile or so, but it does not, I have not seen any evidence of that. So we're going to go ahead, pull back, and swing around to the front of NewsChopper 9, where you will see the flashing lights of a ton of first responders as we come up to Linwood. I believe this is going to be the small town of Linwood, and you can see that the 32 highway here, I believe it is, completely shut down. Now they have kind of a convoy of first responders. I'm hoping they're not transporting injured people. It is hard to believe, and Pat, let's go to down to the right there for me, and let's show those houses that are completely a little further right, and tilt up. It's hard to believe that we didn't have any serious injuries when you see damage like that as we zoom in on this, and you can see those houses completely destroyed.
All right, Johnny, we do have reports of injuries. There are victims that are showing up at Lawrence Memorial Hospital, which is somewhat of an indication that at least they were able to get to Lawrence Memorial Hospital. And so the numbers vary. We're not sure. We know that there are a number of people, but Lawrence Memorial is taking care of those folks. We did tell you about Highway 59 being shut down because of a semi overturned there. KDOT just said 59 Highway is back open tonight, but again, south of Lawrence, the damage is just tremendous tonight. So if you don't need to go in that area, you are asked by emergency vehicles and emergency management to not go in that area because some of those homes are just splintered to nothing but rubble.
All right, Haley Harrison in Bonner Springs. Haley?
Well, Chris, we're out here along Front Street in Bonner Springs, as you said, and this is the sort of tornado damage that we're seeing here in town. A massive tree, probably 75 feet, uprooted. Take a look at this. This is the kind of damage that Brian Busby was telling us as he was preparing our team at Channel 9 this afternoon for the storms that were coming in tonight. He said this was the kind of thing that we were going to see just from straight line winds alone because of how saturated the ground is. This root ball of the tree lifted up out of the ground. Now, we are out in front of a veterinary business, and the veterinarian here, remind me your name.
I'm Dr. Paul Slider.
Dr. Slider, you and I were talking just moments ago before we came live on air about the fact that you were relieved when you pulled up to your business to see that this was the extent of it. You have about 12 cats and dogs inside and lots of very big trees surrounding your business. Tell me about that.
Well, it's a blessing. You just don't know. I mean, these trees have been here for, who knows, 150 years maybe, you know, and so not to see them on the building crushed, so, you know, on the west side of where the animals are at, you know, it's just going to be a matter of calling clients, letting them know that everything's okay, and that we just got a lot of cleanup.
And I imagine they have been calling you, trying to get a hold of you to find out that answer.
I don't know, because there's no power on the phone, and so
spotty cell phone coverage out here. Yeah.
Well,
power's out in
of
town.
course, they'll be calling the clinic. They won't have my cell phone number.
Sure. You were also telling me that you live about 35 miles away from here. So you were watching these storms come through on the radar like the rest of us. And tell me about your concerns as you were watching this storm plow right through your business.
Well, I guess I was out mowing all afternoon. So,
oblivious.
So I was oblivious that my wife was even calling me and letting me know that this was going on. And then, of course, when she did get a hold of me finally, then we said, well, we got to get up there and see what's going on.
And that ends up being a long 35-minute drive.
Oh. Well, yeah, it takes 35 minutes, but you're just wondering, what are you going to find? And especially when you're listening onto the radio of all the damage that's been done in Lawrence and Linwood, and they're looking down on the copters and just saying, well, the houses are gone. And so we didn't know, maybe this place was gone. And so...
And Dr. Slider, too, said that this area behind this fence, that you use this sometimes as an area to exercise horses or some of the bigger animals that you treat.
Sometimes we'll leave animals up here for nostalgia or letting people just see what little guys look like, and then sometimes we'll exercise the dogs back here, or even the police even housed a horse here last week, so that had gotten loose. So we kind of use it for little different things, but it's not they're just not hitting the building. That was the lucky thing for us compared to other people with the homes are damaged.
The animals are okay, which is the good thing we can report here. And thankfully, no animals out here in the pen this evening. You guys weren't even open today. So good news. Again, though, this type of damage is what we're seeing all throughout Bonner Springs. We do want to send it back out to you guys in the studio. Reporting live from Bonner Springs, Haley Harrison, KMBC 9 News.
All right, thank you, Haley. We want to go to William Joy now, who is in Lawrence at the Church of the Nazarene that had originally wanted to set up a Red Cross shelter for people, but they don't have any power.
William?
Laura, Chris, that's exactly what happened. We're here at the First Church of the Nazarene, and as soon as even the pastor arrived, they saw they didn't have power, so now they've changed that to the fairgrounds. The Douglas County Fairgrounds is the new shelter. If you're watching and need a place, do not come here to the First Church of the Nazarene. Go to the Douglas County Fairgrounds. I'm actually joined by the pastor, Robbie Giffen. Robbie, When you got here, what was the situation?
Yeah, you know, we made our way out here because we had offered our building up for a shelter, and we're happy to do it. Get out here and we have no power, and so obviously they had to scurry a little bit to find a place that did have some power here in town. So
now, when we got here, there was a crowd of people here. I thought they were people who were here for shelter. They were people who were here to volunteer. Your own home was in the path. You saying it's not affected,
right.
But what does that tell you about just this community response so quickly?
Yeah, you know, we just got the word out and said it looks like we're going to be a shelter, and so I just texted a bunch of people and said, hey, can you get to the church and help me get things set up? And so I showed up, and there was already several people here, and obviously you got here, and there were 20 to 30 people here ready to go, but hey, we just adjust. You don't plan for things like this.
What are you hearing? You say you live in Eudora. What are you hearing from that area?
Yeah, you know, we're just getting all kinds of reports. My phone's lighting up of, you know, people that we know whose houses have been damaged, businesses that we know of that have been damaged, all the way from West Lawrence all the way up through Linwood area. So far, it looks like everybody is safe, but yeah, definitely just a crazy night. Yeah.
We know that the highway patrol has blocked off kind of a large area, not even letting residents in right now to their homes because of fear of danger. What is the next step? If somebody's watching this, they do need shelter, they do need help, what's your message to them right now?
Yeah, so the new shelter has been set up at the Douglas County Fairgrounds. They're up on Harper, Building 21. And we actually sent our people from here up there to help get them set up. So yeah, if anybody needs shelter, there at the Douglas County Fairgrounds, they're getting set up.
Awesome, I appreciate it. I know that's where you're headed next. I appreciate it. I don't want to hold you up too much.
No problem.
Again, right now, guys, the First Church of the Nazarene does not have power, so they are not the shelter right now. It's the Douglas County Fairgrounds. That's where you should head if you need help. And again, there's a large blocked off area here from 59 Highway to Haskell, north to K10. Again, if you can't get into this area, even if you are residents, we're continuing to follow this damage, and we'll give you updates right here on KMBC 9 News. Reporting live from Douglas County, William Joy, KMBC 9 News.
All right, so the Douglas County Fairgrounds is where people can go if they need help from the Red Cross.
Yeah, and we are getting, this is really the first report of injuries in Douglas County, and according to Douglas County Sheriff's deputies, 11 people have been reported injured as a result of tonight's tornado. Also citing some reporting from the Lawrence Journal-World, 6 people have been taken to Lawrence Memorial Hospital with injuries from the storm, obviously, including one with serious injuries. 5 more people apparently headed to the hospital as well. And Lawrence Memorial Hospital has activated its Emergency Incident Command Center and is receiving patients as we speak. And they talk on Twitter of a great staff response, and their thoughts being with all of those who have been affected by tonight's weather.
And although the heart of Lawrence, and that's where Lawrence Memorial Hospital is situated, was not hit by the tornado, you have to understand that the rural area surrounding Lawrence is what was hit the hardest. So that's why these people, the 11 people so far, have gone directly to Lawrence Memorial. So that's why they have set up their area, and they're taking in patients as needed, their emergency response.
Katie?
I would bring you up to date on the fact that we have more storms to come. So let me set the environment for you. Even though we have had a thunderstorm move through, we still have a lot of heat and a lot of moisture in the air for more thunderstorms to work with. There is a warm front coming right across the Arkansas River and the Missouri River. You see it's 75 in Olathe, 64 in St. Joe. That splits the warm air from the slightly cooler air. We've also got a lot of moisture in the air. Ottawa still has a dew point of 72. Also wanted to point out the winds just above the surface are coming from the west, southwest to the northeast. This is blowing that debris earlier in that storm towards the northeast. Even as we go higher up into the storm, how strong those winds are. That's why we're going to hear reports of debris being found, like we heard up in Smithville Lake. Debris was falling there from that tornado. Our storm center is still monitoring a tornado watch that is in effect for another 50 minutes for all of our counties lit here in orange. Also, the severe thunderstorm watch is in our northern counties, Atchison, Andrew, Nottoway, Holt, Worth and Gentry, Harrison and Mercer. Those yellow boxes you see off to the west, those are severe thunderstorm warnings, which we'll take a closer look at. But before we do, I want you to see that we have had a lot of rain, upwards of 2 to 5 inches of rain on top of the 6 to 8 inches we had in the last 3 days. So we are approaching 8 to 10 inches of total rainfall. Flash flooding is happening now. There are flash flood warnings in effect for every county that you see in red. And as we go into nighttime, that makes it even more dangerous. So in Maryville, Trenton, Chillicothe, Liberty, Kansas City, Leavenworth, and Lawrence, please be extremely cautious if you have to drive tonight. Even if you aren't in the threat of a severe storm, that flash flooding continues to be of great concern for us. Now, as we take you back to First Alert Radar, this is the radar estimates of how much rain has fallen. And in northern Missouri, we're seeing that 4 to 5 inches there. Let me bring you over to the radar and where you saw those severe thunderstorm warnings off to the west. I'm going to switch over to Topeka's radar, so bear with me as I click a few buttons here. Let me turn that off. All right, so when we look at the Topeka's radar, you can see these thunderstorms that are still heading our way. These are producing very strong winds and hail. I will track the entire line for you. You notice it's not a solid line. There is a break, but I want to track the whole line so you get the feeling of when these storms may be arriving in your area. They appear to be moving east-northeast at about 50 miles per hour, 45 to 50. You saw those strong winds helping to steer these storms in our direction. I'll lengthen the storm track for you. And this will bring these storms back over the area where people are out doing search and recovery, where they're trying to locate their items and making sure that everybody's okay.
Let's go back to Brian Johnson, who is along US 59 highway in Douglas County, south of Lawrence.
Brian?
Yeah, we are with the Roger Brown family. They rode out the storm in their basement. There are 5 or 6 homes here in the cul-de-sac where they live. We're north of North 1000 Road and east of 59 Highway. If you're in Lawrence and you're watching, this is where we are. We're on the south side of town. There was a semi that was toppled over on US 59 Highway, so it took a long time to get over here. This is the aftermath and what people are doing right now. Take a look, live pictures. These are their pets back in their cages. They've got fresh water. You can see pieces of insulation wrapped all throughout the cage, and they have had a very rough night. The pets and the Brown family rode out this storm in their shelter, in their basement. They have a concrete room there with a steel door. They say it was very concerning as they heard the roof lift off and get blown away and all of their belongings, knowing that it's blowing away. We're gonna turn around now. They've got all kinds of family and friends out here helping tonight, and if we iris up, you'll be able to see a little bit of this is what's left of their 3-car garage, a wide shot, and you can kind of start to get the sense of just what every house on this cul-de-sac looks like. The man who built this custom home, he lives across the street. He's got a tarp on his roof, and he's got damage in his home, and 2 other homes are just ripped open, just like this one. We are literally inside the garage. You can see this front garage door was pushed in 2 or 3 feet. It's wrapped around that car, and then this custom white Jeep that Roger was telling us is one of a kind. It's a limited edition from a couple years ago, and so they're just dealing with all of what they spent their life building and constructing and making it their dream, now destroyed with it'll take many, many years to fix. And if you pan over, Daniel, I'm walking outside the garage now. I'll step outside. This is the trees and the landscape. It's really hard to see, but everything is soaked with water. We've seen tree after tree that's cut in half or uprooted, just like this one, where the wind literally, because the soil is so saturated from all of this rain we've been receiving, it just literally toppled these trees over like toys, kind of like what Lara was saying. And so this is kind of the damage that we're seeing. If we go back to their house, I just want to show you, this was 1 story with a walkout basement behind it, but you can see what's left of the the roof line here with all the trusses and the joists and insulation now all over the place. And so just very devastating for them. He said, physically, we are fine, we're healthy, we're safe. And so they are so grateful for that, and so grateful for all the friends and neighbors who have come to help them pack up what they own. But they say emotionally, right now it's very challenging to look at it and know that this was their life's work and their piece of heaven on earth, and now it's damaged, destroyed, and the landscape will never be the same. That's the latest. Live in Lawrence, Brian Johnson, KMBC 9 News.
And it's only going to get worse as the sun rises tomorrow morning.
These are people who right now are looking at what's left and wishing they could wave a magic wand and make it go away, but it unfortunately doesn't work that way. KMBC 9's William Joy is the Douglas County Fairgrounds in Lawrence, where a temporary shelter has been set up. William?
And Chris, Laura, earlier we were at the First Church of the Nazarene, which is the original shelter, but they didn't have power like many people throughout the area, so it's now here at the Douglas County Fairgrounds. You can see some of the volunteers who just a couple minutes ago went right away to unloading this trailer, this Red Cross disaster relief trailer, which is loaded down with water, with food, with cots, with everything they need for the night. And going inside, this is the area where people would set up, and in a couple moments they're going to begin setting everything up. They said they're still trying to figure out just how many people they need, or how many people they need to set up for, trying to expect the needs. They aren't expecting too many people to come here, but we have seen a lot of damage. He said it's still too early to say, but already really what we've seen more than anything is just a large number of volunteers coming in here to help right away. And it's not just people with the Red Cross, it's not just people with the church. Just a couple minutes ago, we saw a car pull up. They said they saw it on the news, they wanted to come help. So again, a lot of people are already pitching in, which again, those volunteer efforts will certainly be needed down the line. But right now in the immediate future, the Red Cross has set up a shelter here. Again, if you do need shelter, come to the Douglas County Fairgrounds. Don't go to the First Church of the Nazarene. We've also seen power crews continuing to work on power lines across the area, many down, ripped apart, just like many of the trees that we've seen from the damage of this tornado. So many people certainly probably be in need of help tonight. And you can come here to the Douglas County Fairgrounds if you're one of them. Reporting live, William Joy, KMBC 9 News.
All right, William, thank you. And we should mention that Lawrence Memorial Hospital has activated its Emergency Incident Command Center. So if you're needing medical attention and you can get to Lawrence Memorial Hospital, that's your best place. If you're needing shelter, food, or water, the Douglas County Fairgrounds is the place for you to seek that.
More video from NewsChopper 9 from earlier tonight showing some of the damage along K32 tonight on the Kansas side. And as you can see, this some of this damage is extensive. No reports of any sort of injuries in this part of our area, but I would hazard to say that it's a little too soon to give the all clear there. Again, this is going to be one of those stories where it's going to take a while to make sure that every single person who happened to be in one of these structures, to make sure that they have been accounted for and that they are okay. And that is certainly what we are hoping and praying for right now.
And I can tell you from having covered the Joplin tornado, what they will do is emergency crews will go from home to home to home, and they will account for every single person. And they will mark that home as how many people have been accounted for. So the process is tedious, it takes time, but they will do it, and they will do it thoroughly.
And my guess is, especially in so many neighborhoods, as soon as homeowners make sure that their own family and friends are okay, then they will probably go out and start going house to house as well to try to make sure that their neighbors are okay. You know, we saw some earlier pictures, what you're seeing right now. You hope that those are all first responders and that they weren't necessarily people who were looking to get a closer look at the damage, because that's the last thing that people in places like this need is for gawkers.
The Douglas County Sheriff's Department tweeted that out exactly, that they really cannot have people out of their homes if they're not damaged, looking around or doing anything out of the ordinary. Just stay put. This is video from NewsChopper 9, and this is before the sun set, and you can just see it was a rain-wrapped tornado. It made it incredibly difficult for trained storm spotters like our KMBC staff to make sure that they were calling a tornado because there was so much rain around it. part of the saving grace in all this is it wasn't completely dark out. The sun was still up, believe it or not, even though you look at this video and it seems so dark. But a rain-wrapped tornado is just so incredibly dangerous because you cannot track where it's touching down and where it's going back up into the sky.
And really impossible to see just how big a storm this was at its base. Johnny was speculating, Nick was speculating, we were all speculating. Judging by what we are seeing right now, this was clearly a monster of a storm. There's no doubt about that. But at the moment that we were seeing these pictures for the first time, because of the rain wrap feature that we were all looking at tonight, it was just impossible to tell just how big this storm was.
And the National Weather Service will be boots on the ground tonight, if not first thing tomorrow morning, and they will determine on the EF scale what this was. You know, 1, 2, 3, we don't know at this point, but we do know that it was incredibly destructive. And right now we have somewhere around 11 injuries that have been reported.
That's right. And again, I'm guessing that's an early number to be sure. Douglas County Emergency Management tweeting just moments ago that the National Weather Service has canceled a tornado watch for Douglas County. That was as of 9:36 tonight. But the National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm watch for Douglas County until 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Pete Grigsby.
I don't mean to laugh, but that's you know, it's replacing one with the other, but it is downgraded. That's a good news. Now, we've watched these storms, and we've talked about this for several days now. We knew this was going to be a moderate risk for us, and it's exactly what happened. And we're not totally in the clear yet. However, it is good news that the tornado watch is going to be allowed to expire.